All right, what's going on, guys? This is the NGO crew coming at you with a review, which is something we haven't done in a very long time. And it's going to be a review of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. And yeah, this is going to be the non-spoiler version first. After this, we're going to splice up the footage, and then we're going to do a spoiler version as well to put them both on YouTube, so some of the fans who did beat the game or didn't beat the game will actually have both sides. Unless you just don't give a fuck in general. So joining me today is two members who's actually beaten the game, I would say either 100% or 95% through, and knows much more about it than anyone else in our staff. So introducing first, NGO Simi. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been a long time coming for this game, for this review. I'm ready to dig in, man. Let's get it.
All right. And the second on the panel is NGO Goken. What's up?
We back, baby. I think I'm over 70 hours in. Only 49% complete.
49% complete. Yikes.
That's a game right there, buddy. Now that's a game.
And I'm 70 hours in, so you know I'm ready to talk, baby. This is it.
All right. So with that set in mind, I am actually gonna take off these logos and I'm gonna launch up the gameplay video so we could give the viewers something to watch while you know, we talk about this. So the first thing I would like to talk about is let's talk about visuals first, of what you think, in your opinion, about this game visually. Like what captured you, what didn't capture you. So we'll start off with NGO Simi, and then it'll be Goken, and then you'll get mines at the very end for the last.
All right. Well, I mean, visually, I hold that this is one of the best games on next gen. Period. I mean, you know, for it to be as detailed as it is, there's a lot of detail in this game, as far as, and I'm not even talking about visually strictly, like as far as the different things that you can do with the videotapes. I mean, not videotapes, but the cassette tapes, and just the amount of detail that they put into this game is amazing. And for them to really, you know, capture all the faces the way they did, I really don't think I've seen the same person, you know, twice, you know, although I don't really look at everybody's faces, but all the people that I've recruited in the mother base, they all seem to have their own personalities. They all have cool, you know, code names. They like I said, their faces are all very detailed, you know, like just like real people. You know, the rain effects in this game are some of the best. Even with Ground Zeroes, that was the first time we saw, you know, the engine in work, and you know, I didn't think that it would be able to be as detailed as it was, but I mean, the rain makes it look, you know, I think when the game at nighttime, when it's raining, is the best way to play, you know, is the best this game looks at nighttime when it's raining. And I think that's like the best, you know, visuals you'll get out of this game. I mean, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely one of the better looking next gen games. I don't see any type of you know, screen tearing or anything. Like the pop-up is, you know, you kind of get that close range, but you know, as far as draw distance, you don't get a lot of pop-up. But I mean, out of 10, I'd say this game is 9.5 in the visuals.
Okay, that sounds very good, like a general basis of the visual. What about you, NGO Goken? What do you think is up with the visuals on the Phantom Pain?
Let me begin by saying the amount of effort required to actually play the game from I actually played it on PC, so the amount of I guess power you need to run this game is not a lot, which was amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Like my system running a 980 Ti, just one, you know, was able to run a game full settings, full NVIDIA, you know, extras, you know, GameWorks, all that, whatever, you know, all that stuff, the hair, all that. So it was like, this is probably one of the best looking games this year, right? I mean, Just
And Goken, I don't want to interrupt you with that, but y'all realize that this game was on last gen as well, too, right? And this game looks as good as it does on next gen, but they didn't even really harness the full power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's amazing, man.
Yeah. So with the PC, I mean, and honestly, I didn't get a chance to play the PS4, and I'll make a comment about that in a little bit, but the graphics are amazing. Like the shit that was going on in this game, like with all the detail of like when you're in snipe mode and the level of detail when you're shooting from like 100 meters away or however far you are, the level of detail you see from when you're executing that until you hit the actual objects was amazing. It was, the physics was just crazy in this game. Like I was, I got some 2-hour footage of me just playing, trying to catch up, but I was laying on the ground with the helicopter, and while I'm laying on the ground, the helicopter is really far away, and as you see the kind of bullets firing out, the dust on the ground is corresponding to when the helicopter is firing. So you kind of see the dust getting kicked up, or even when bullets are flying past your head, you kind of hear them coming off the rocks, or you kind of see like a little bit of dust coming from places all over, which is crazy. And like Sammy said, with the rain, when you're playing with the rain, my God, it's like you watch like the rain dripping off his body, and when the rain stops, he kind of stays wet for a little bit before he actually dries out. So that is crazy. I mean, just describing those experiences with the game, the physics, the graphics itself, how it looks. I guess you can't give it a perfect 10, but from what I experienced, it's a 9.5 on the graphics, right? And it was not a lot of slowdown or frame drops on from a PC perspective, right? So, that's my take on the graphics.
Okay, and I guess I'll give my synopsis on it. I honestly thought this game visually, just from right now, guys, from what you're seeing and the gameplay that I'm demonstrating right now, as far as you can see in this game, you really can't technically go in every spot that you can see in the game world, but you can go pretty damn far. I mean, my God. This shit is just absolutely stunning to me, especially with the dramatic weather changes, whether if you're going in the sandstorm, whether if you're going in the rain, whether if it gets like foggy or cloudy. Anything can go down at any given second. You can even just spawn and then you randomly are just like amazed by the animals just running across the field, or just, oh my God, dude.
There's been a couple times where I've been flown into a mission, and I like to just sit there and just look at my perspective, because the game, I haven't done that with a game yet this gen. Honestly, I haven't sat there and except actually for Ground Zeroes. Ground Zeroes was the best looking game I had saw up until this game, and I still sit there and I'm like, okay, this looks too. And again, this is still a last gen game. This game, PS3 and Xbox 360 owners are playing this. I haven't seen what the quality is, but I mean, I don't think that, looking at Digital Foundry and looking at how they compared it, it doesn't look that far off. So last gen owners, if you don't own this game, you're definitely missing out. It's safe to say that this is going to be the last AAA experience that you're going to get on last gen, if you ask me.
Yeah, it could be just that. I mean, again, they're trying to move on very slowly from the last gen and just make everything next gen fully. But yeah, visually this game is just very impressive. Like literally, you can shoot literally everything on here, and it'll make its own sound effect for it, which we'll talk about in a second as well. But everything is just unique in its own very way, and I'm just sheerly amazed. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably say a 9 out of 10. There are little things visually when you're zooming in at certain enemies or certain parts of the game, it'll seem like very pixelated, because I guess they didn't expect you to zoom in on every little nook and cranny there is in the game.
I didn't see that on the PC. I don't know if there's a difference between how far you can draw distance from when you're in scope. But that'll be interesting thing to look at.
I did check that out. Just I checked out Digital Foundry to see the comparisons between all the versions, Xbox One, PS4, PC, the next gen versions, and the PC does have a slighter higher like draw distance, and as far as like details and the rocks, and the grass and stuff like that. So it's minor, but it is there. But you know, the only time I experience any graphical stuff is actually in the least, the least opportune time, like when I'm gathering my loadout, like, you know, when you go to the loadout part, you're choosing your buddy and all that stuff, and your guns. Like sometimes, like my gun will be like pixelated, and I'm like, and I have to wait a couple seconds, and then it smooths out. But that's like literally the only graphical hiccup that I've had.
All right, so I guess it's safe to say that visually it's a very good game.
Definitely. If you want a good-looking game to show off on next gen, you want this game.
Okay, so now let's get into the next subject, and let's talk about sound quality. Starting in the same order.
Well, I played a little bit with my headphones. I have the PlayStation branded headphones. With the 7.1 surround sound, so I did get a little feel of the sound, and I mean, again with the detail, man, the detail in every Metal Gear game is, you know, I think head and shoulders above a lot of other games. Most other games, they put a lot of detail into these games where you don't think that, okay, let me try this, let me see if I can try this, will it work, and it ends up working. So, you know, the amount of detail that they put into that goes all the way around into the visuals and as well as the sound. With the headphones on, I get a lot of the conversations from the enemies. I can hear them a lot further. You know, even without, because you know sometimes when you're not supposed to hear them, I guess when you got the subtitles on, and you're really, if you're close enough to them, the subtitles will come up. But I mean, if you have, you know, headphones on, or you listen close enough, you don't even have to be that close. You just have to have on your use your scope and zoom in to where they're at, and you can hear what they're saying. A lot of the detail that I picked up with the sound just came from just like the different animals and stuff like that, like the small things, you know, walking into an empty room and hearing all the echoes from the footsteps and hearing, you know, just the sound of, you know, the reloads and stuff like that. Those minute details is what, you know, I pay attention to. You know, of course the big loud explosions and the gunfire and all that stuff, that's gonna sound good. You know, that's, you know, the meat and potatoes. But the actual part where people don't pay attention, like I said, to the wildlife in the world. There's the different sounds when you're in different areas, you know, versus, you know, the sound that you make when you're on grass versus on concrete. You know, it's all that stuff is factored into the sound, and I mean, you know, it's definitely nothing to complain about. You know, usually when it comes to, I'm not an audiophile by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm sure a person that's looking for you know, that type of stuff could find some hiccups in the sound, or find some things that may not sound right. But I mean, to me, man, everything sounded great. You know, I think I'd put it on the same scale as the visuals, 9.5. You know, because, you know, like I said, it's the amount of detail that they put into the entire game. It covers visually, you know, in the audio side and in the gameplay. Everything kind of blends in together perfectly.
Okay. How about you, NGO? Ken, what do you think of the audio portion of this?
You know, with a game like this, audio is key because it's espionage, right? Mm-hmm. It's you know, stealth, it's action, it has all those components. So sound is very key to making the experience really good, right? Mm-hmm. So from that point of view, the audio as a whole, did that feel like I was a stealth, you know, super, you know, CIA army guy? Yeah, you know, like when you're knocking on the wall, Again, you know, like K7 said, listening to conversations with your scope. The funny thing is, like, when they kind of get the alert status, and the different guys are talking on the walkies. I don't know if you've ever seen it. One guy will be talking on a walkie, and if you have a good view, you can see who the other guy is they're talking to. You know, sometimes when they're inside of the same area, you know, which I thought was crazy. It was really cool. Especially when the environment, the noise with the environment was really cool. Especially how when it starts raining and it's raining really hard, you can't hear your steps. They can't hear your steps. And, you know, like your steps and things get masked, right? Sandstorm, your visibility. You can still be heard, but there's no visibility. But you kind of hear like the swooshing of the wind, right? And kind of when you're running too, you can hear like his internal breathing and running while you're actually controlling the character, but the environment around you is still happening, and you can still hear the sounds of that too. So you kind of feel like you're in a movie all the time. Like every mission is almost action packed, you know, even when you're doing stealth missions. And from that point of view, I believe that the sound was executed perfectly. Like I don't have any issues with the sound. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking for it, I'm pretty sure there's some glitches, right? Who cares? I mean, I'm not sitting down looking for glitches. I'm trying to enjoy the gaming experience. When I come home from a long day at work, or I have some time to relax and I can do the thing I like to do, which is play video games, is it giving me fulfilling that experience at that moment? And the audio in this game and the gameplay itself does that for me. So I'm not really going to give it a rating. I'm just going to say that the audio for this game was executed perfectly, especially with the cassette tapes, how you can listen to, get a little bit more of the story while you're running around doing the missions. And if you adjust the levels just the right way, you can kind of get a little bit of everything, you know, which is cool. Like you can sit down, be in a sniping position, listen to hear the environment, but also hear the radio going on about, you know, something with Emmerich or something, a story, or, you know, a Skullface or whatever, you know. So I mean, that's my take on the audio.
Okay. Now, with me and the audio, I think the audio is just fucking phenomenal, because you have a bunch of things in the game that you need to listen out for, like, you know, the audio cues and stuff like that. Not only that, but of course the dialogue is very important to hear, and oh my god, like everything just at the right time, at the right moment, especially if you're like a surround sound guy. Oh my fucking god, you're gonna be in love with this shit, boy. Like there will not be a dull fucking moment where you be like, huh? What the fuck, this shitty ass audio? No. Especially with the cassette tapes that you listen to actual audio music from like the late 60s,
80s and stuff, yeah.
80s. It's just a phenomenal thing to listen to, and especially with like some of the animals, I will say that they did get a little lazy with the animals, because all the dogs sound alike, whether if you're a hyena, a jackal, or whatever. You know, they have their little distinctive sounds that they caught for the game, and so on and so forth. But again, they did a really good job, and you can't really complain about it. So if I had to give it a score, I'll probably say a 9, like a solid 9, because of the fact that there were some slight audio cues that was like kind of random and weird, and sometimes wonky when the game does go AWOL, like glitchy, which it does happen sometimes. So I'll give it a solid 9.
Can I segue into something here that actually I wanted to ask you guys about? How'd you guys think Kiefer Sutherland did?
That's an interesting question. Go ahead, Ken. You start.
You see, I actually didn't pay attention to the actors and the voices, you know. Like for whatever reason, everyone sounded like they were supposed to sound. For me, if I were, this is not my first time playing Metal Gear, right? So, but if I'm a player just getting into the game, which a lot of people are going to be, right? These guys almost sound like they're like if you met them in real life, they would sound like that. You know what I mean? The way they look. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The voice kind of matched the. And again, I'm not talking as someone who's been playing Metal Gear since, you know, Metal Gear came out on PS1. You know, obviously it was older than that because it came out on the Nintendo, God knows when. But from that perspective, I thought the voice acting was on point because I felt like these characters were the characters. You know, like it's like you can compare the different Joker actors. You know, that type of thing. I can't do that with this. It's just like, oh, Snake sounds like this guy sounds like the Snake. You know, oh, Ocelot. This guy sounds like an Ocelot. He looks like an Ocelot. You know, like that. That's how I felt. Oh, Miller. Oh, this guy. He looks like a CIA guy. He kind of talks like the CIA guy. You know, that's how I felt.
Okay, I mean, I feel like he didn't do a bad job at all. I just felt like he could have added a little bit more dialogue to the actual game because it just felt like, okay, you kind of half-assed your way with the dialogue since you didn't get paid to do like a full role, which is understandable. But even so, there's a lot of people that I can say offhand that would rather have the old voice actor from the previous Metal Gear games,
David Hayter.
Yeah, David Hayter, to have done the voice. But again, Kojima didn't see David Hayter, you know, perpetrating an older style of, you know, Snake. And, it wasn't in his direction. So, it was like, you know what, we're just going to find another voice actor and see how well it goes. But, I mean, he did pretty good. In some parts, he did not sound emotional to his character. It just felt like kind of robotic in a sense. But other than that, like, as what Goken said, I didn't really pay too much to his voice in the game than rather the actual gameplay itself.
Well, I'll say this. I definitely am not going to lie and say that going in, I wasn't a little bit worried, especially like a long time ago when the news first broke. I mean, we heard about this, more than a year ago that David Hayter, the original Snake, wouldn't be in the game. So I was, coming in, I was a little okay, what's going to happen? How's this going to go? Long story short, man, the voice acting is phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with the voice. There's nothing wrong with Kiefer Sutherland being Snake. I mean, if I were to give the best performance, hands down, Miller. Every time Miller spoke, I felt it. Miller was. I think he did whoever does his voice. I have to look that up. Whoever does Miller's voice, it was very, very. He did better than Troy Baker. He did better than Kiefer Sutherland. Miller sold that game for me because I feel like that every time I go into a mission and I'm getting ready to do something, Miller gives me that, kind of, sometimes at first when I was playing the game, I don't know if anybody else kind of felt this way, but when you first start Fultoning guys and Miller's like, oh, you're bringing him too? And at first I'm sitting here like, did I pick up the wrong guy? Like, is this guy weak? Because he gives me, when he talks, everything he says, I overanalyze it because he has so much feeling in what he says. He's like, oh, you're gonna bring that guy? And I'm like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have faulted that guy. Maybe he was too weak. And I still feel like that all these hours into it. Like, am I faulting the wrong guy? Like, I listen to Miller when he speaks. So Miller definitely was the best voice actor for me. But back on Kiefer Sutherland, I had no problem with it, man. I honestly, I'm gonna get into this more when we get into the spoiler cast, because they really could have did something, and I'm gonna bring that up later. But as far as Kiefer Sutherland goes, no problem at all. I think with the whole dialogue part, with him having more dialogue, I think I don't know if they dialed back Snake's talking because of Kiefer Sutherland, or if that was based on game design, because Snake doesn't talk very much in this game. They don't, not a lot of cutscenes at all in the game. It's a whole nother kind of Metal Gear, and we'll get into that as well. But it's as far as Kiefer, I don't know, Kiefer, whatever. But he did a good job, man. I have no complaints. He could have fucked it up pretty bad. He really could have ruined it, but he did pretty good.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. I mean, again, I just wish they had a little bit more, to it, in the sense of like him talking. Because the other Metal Gear games, they was like always talk. So
right.
I'm kind of not used to that still in the sense, like, Jesus Christ. Like, I want some more dialogue, goddammit. Give me some shit. But, you know, it is what it is. So let's see, we talked about visual, we talked about audio. How about the actual core gameplay? The actual core gameplay. So we'll start off again with K-Simeon.
Man, I mean, I hate to keep gushing about this game like this, but y'all, I'm gonna throw y'all for a curveball here at the end. I can't wait. But as far as gameplay goes, I mean, I don't even want to argue that the gameplay in Metal Gear 5 is better than any other Metal Gear. I think we all agree on that. Metal Gear 5's gameplay is way more I mean, it's confusing. I mean, I definitely would not push this game on a brand new gamer. Like this definitely shouldn't be your first game, because buttons are all over the place. They utilize every single button in this game, and I'm not even bullshitting. Every single button is utilized in some way in this game, and it makes sense. You know, the button layout actually makes sense to me. The way that Snake handles is the amount of detail when he goes up to a flat surface, he puts his hand on the surface, you know, to kind of peek around the corner. You know, simple, you know, just the crouching motion, the motion between him going from crouching to laying down is buttery smooth. Like, you know, it's like every animation connects, you know, seamlessly. You know, there's no, I never felt like I couldn't do what I wanted to do. The driving sucks. I'll go ahead and say that. I mean, I don't drive very often, but when I wanted to make a quick getaway, driving, you know, from point A to point B was pretty bad. I didn't expect anything out of it, but it's still bad nonetheless. I mean, the shooting mechanics aren't bad at all. I mean, as far as it being a third-person shooter, not too much precision that you're going to get out of a third-person shooter, but you know, it's easy to switch from third person to first person while you're in combat. So that's definitely a nice touch. As far as, like I said, just the core gameplay, moving and actually sneaking around, being stealthy, I feel like they give you all the tools. They give you more than enough tools. There's gadgets and stuff in this game that I still haven't purchased and used. You know, I've gotten a groove going with a certain loadout, and I kind of stick to that loadout. But when it comes to any type of mission, I never feel like that I'm not equipped. Even if I go in naked, you know, no guns, no nothing, subsistence style, I feel like that I can complete any mission because Snake moves the way I want him to move. You know, the diving, the nice diving action and rolling and all that stuff is useful. You know, I don't feel like that Snake had any, you know, useless, you know, kind of, you know, motions and stuff. Metal Gear 4, I think, had a lot of that. Metal Gear 4 had a lot of different ways, you know, different roles and stuff like that you can do that I never used. You know, it just felt like it was, you know, tacked on, and it was just something to say, okay, Snake can do this, Snake can do that. In Metal Gear 5, I really feel like that every single move that he has a purpose. So I mean, you know, like I say, gameplay, man, it's smooth. 60 frames a second. You know, it's you know, you don't get really better than that. You know, again, man, gushing, I'm gonna give it another 9. You know, 9 out of 10 for the pure gameplay.
Okay. How about you, Ken? Since you was actually demoing a 2-hour stream before we actually got started, what do you think of the gameplay?
I think that 2-hour stream speaks for itself. You know, if you ever get a chance to take a look at the footage, it's pretty good. There's a good variety of missions that were done. This is, you know, let you know what we're trying to do. I was trying to, like, you know, get to the end before 8 p.m. I started at around 6 o'clock. That didn't happen. You know, we ran into some snags, but that's what happens in Metal Gear. I mean, you go in thinking that one thing's gonna happen, and you just never know, you know. You kind of don't know, and you could do it a million different ways. There's a million different ways to do everything. And as far as gameplay goes, that speaks for itself, you know. You know, every mission, like when you go in, you take a look at it, you can stealth and noise, you can do whatever. You get caught, improvise, you have to improvise sometimes. Sometimes you end up having to walk away or sitting down and for real life 15 minutes waiting for things to calm down so you can start over, kind of, you know, reboot and take another approach to how you're going to get the thing done. I mean, like the gameplay is just amazing. I mean, like I go to work, my coworker, he plays Metal Gear as well, and we end up getting into, this is how great the gameplay of this game is. We can talk about things that we've done in missions for about 45 minutes. For about 45 minutes, we'll have a conversation. And reminder, we have to kind of like stop ourselves from talking about what we were doing in the game, right? And I think that holds true with everybody, because even before we even started the stream, we were talking about all the things we could have did and how this thing happened or whatever, right? So, I mean, they really captured. When I play this game, it really, you know, I remember everything, and you get excited when you have people that are playing the game too, and you can basically talk about your war stories, you know, or have people watch your war stories, which is really cool. I mean that enough says it. I mean, the gameplay is top notch, and it's one of those things that, you know, obviously this is game of the year. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's nothing going to be better than this. This year's done. So I mean, that's my take on the gameplay. The gameplay is it's a solid 10. Gameplay is a solid 10. I didn't even want to give it a rate. I don't want to give it a rating. It's a must play. But if you're forcing me to tell you, you know, what is it, the rating? Like, the rating does anything for you. I mean, it's a 10. It's a solid 10 out of 10. But I mean, the game speaks for itself, man. Like you really spend, you know, missions can be 15 minutes, 10 minutes. They can be an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
I mean, just talking about that changes everything. You know.
I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say that the Fulton recovery system is the gadget of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I'm serious. I'm serious. I don't look at like Connexes, like Tricons and stuff. I don't. When I drive, you know, sometimes, and I'll see those Connexes and shit on the side of the road. I don't look at them the same. I want to go and Fulton them. Like, I want to, like, cause that's how much like that shit like plays in my mind. Like, I don't even look at Connexes the same anymore. I want to Fulton. I look outside and I see a truck. I want to put a fucking balloon on it and send it to the sky. Like, the Fulton recovery system. Granted, it was debuted in Peace Walker back in 2008, so this isn't brand new, but it's definitely new to a lot of people.
Yeah,
with you being able to Fulton everything, man, Fulton recovery system is the gadget of the year.
See that there you go. Listen, honestly, we could probably talk 3 hours, literally 3 hours about the gadgets and stuff you develop in the game. Seriously, like this is the type of game it is, you know.
Well. Okay, so as of for me for gameplay, I'm gonna say this. Just like what I saw in the meme earlier on fucking Facebook, this is a game where you get to take out a water gun, a toy water gun, ride on a horse, shit on command, command your D-dog and make him look for enemies and scout enemies and plants and animals, have a sexy ass bitch like Quiet take out the enemy patrol, have a fucking robot that can have almost over 100 plus customizations to go out in your field missions, and you can just run around and cause a fucking muck. Like, what other game is gonna allow you to drop a tank on someone's head?
Man,
like
nothing.
Seriously, like, if this game is not game of the year, I wonder what the fuck will be game of the year. Like, seriously, this game is like that good. It's the crack.
It might be game of the next 2 years.
Oh damn!
I mean, I'll say
serious.
this.
Like, come on, I'm being serious. I'm not trying to make jokes about that statement.
I mean, look, but this is the thing, man. With Metal Gear 5, I've just looked at my play records, and I have 118 hours in this game. Now I'm at, what's my percentage? My percentage is 72%. I would not be. This game just came out on the 1st of the month. It's not even a month old. I've put 118 hours into this game, and I still want more. You know what I mean? You can't. And now I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Metal Gear 5 can definitely get repetitive. You know, if I can say negative about this game, the side missions do get repetitive. Whether you're extracting a soldier, whether you're extracting a prisoner, whether you're taking out a tank unit or taking out a armored unit, it's all kind of the same thing, but it can play out in a million different ways. You can go in and do and extract a prisoner mission, but you can do it in totally. You can go in stealthy, you can go in loud, you can go in with just a cardboard box if you wanted to. You can go in with D Walker and the whole cavalry if you wanted to. And the thing is, what I like about the gameplay specifically is that I don't feel like I'm punished for doing what I want to do. If I want to go in and do a mission this way, I can do it that way, and I don't feel like the game punishes me for missing out on the intel. Like sometimes you can go and get intel, and it gives you a easier way to tackle that mission, right? Sometimes you miss out on that intel. In other games, a la Assassin's Creed, a la, I don't even know another stealth game right now that compares. But I feel like that if you miss a beat in a lot of these other games, the mission's over. You got to start over. They have a way for you to beat this mission, and they want you to do it that way. Metal Gear treats you like a grown-up. It treats you like a grown man. It's kind of a throwback to our older games, our Contras, our Marios, where you do I mean, of course it's linear. You have to go from point A to point B, but the game's hard. It can be hard. They're not going to hold your hand. They're not. The game is good at giving you just enough information to know what this thing does. A lot of water gun. I don't know. When I got the water gun, I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? I tried to use it on a boss, just thinking, okay, maybe this will work. And the game already, anticipated me using that. And Miller says something like, "I'm not going to spoil
water
it."
Than that.
But exactly.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it, but that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, they knew that I would take this water gun and try to shoot this enemy with this. Like, they knew ahead of time, and they wanted you to try it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, I really thought outside the box and was like, oh shit, water gun. Called in a drop for the water gun, and like, it didn't work, but I did the same shit. Then you still feel like, okay, I thought about that. I actually came up with that. And you really feel good when you tackle a mission and do it the way you want to do it. Yeah. That's something that a lot of games don't do at all. So if this being the game of the next 2 years, I honestly don't see another game doing the things that this game does for a long time.
Okay. But yeah, this game is just too open just to like do it in a linear sense. Like, whoever plays this game in a linear way, you guys gotta fucking open your mind.
Definitely.
Like, seriously. Open your fucking mind and explore the shit or the possibilities that can be done in this game. I mean, like I said, I can go on and on all night of what you can do. I can even take it to one step further, and I've done some shit where there was a mission where you had to eliminate a soldier, and apparently the only way you can do it is either by killing him or extracting him. I said, fuck that. You know what I end up doing? I end up dropping a fucking, what was it? I think I dropped the Jeep on him, and then I just left the mission. Like, I fucking dropped, I called for the supply support, I called my helicopter, got on the plane. By the time I got on the plane, the mission is not over yet, boss. Poop. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's over, it's over. It's over.
Time to head out.
Never mind.
So you can finesse with this game. And also, the thing that I do like is that you get to add your own custom music to hear in the helicopter while the copter comes and gets you. So it just creates even more funniness. Like, imagine you getting rescued by Peacock to John Cena. Or fucking
now
the
is that
Backstreet
just
Boys.
PC? Is that
no?
just
That's
on
for
PC?
all consoles.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
all
look
consoles.
that up. I'm gonna have to look that up.
You have to make a custom folder, dude, and for the PS4 and make it register in the game.
It has to say a music. It has to be music folder or
I
something.
think it has to say music in all capital letters.
I got that. Let me see how do you. I'm gonna definitely do that, but that's just one of the things that we're talking. You know, when that happens, you know, your chopper flies in and is playing whatever music you wanted to play. And you just feel like, I said this on a couple podcasts ago, if anybody were to walk in on me playing this game, they would think I'm playing Rambo, some kind of new age Rambo, because I feel like that, you know, especially when you have the bandana on. I mean, you're Rambo, dude. I'm telling you. You know, it's gameplay is, I don't know. I can't say anything else about gameplay, man. It's a must play.
Yes,
straight up.
It's definitely a must play, guys. So what we're gonna do is normally we'll talk about the story, but we're gonna generalize it in less than 30 seconds, and then when the spoiler version comes in, then we can go ape shit on that.
Yes.
So we'll do it like a quick overall. So basically, say what you think in 30 seconds or less of how the story, you know, either compelled you or disappointed you, and then give the overall game a rating, and then we'll end the non-spoiler version like that.
Okay, so without going too hard on the story, I was compelled to finish it. I mean, when I did finish it, I felt some type of way, but I'm gonna get into that later. Just to wrap up, I mean, the story's good. I mean, as far as wrapping it up in a nice little bow, I felt like I wanted to know who Skullface was. I got that answer. I wanted to know what was up with Quiet. I got that answer. So I mean, a lot of things that they put out there at the beginning, you do get answered. You know, a lot of loose ends get tied up. So I mean, they definitely had some closure when it comes to those things. Because I know at the beginning when the game was first coming out, Ishmael, for example, we wrapped that up as well. So I mean, a lot of things get wrapped up, a lot of things are put out there that I was very interested in, and I stuck around to see the whole thing. Granted, I'm a Metal Gear, you know, fanatic, but I mean, I feel like that anybody that gets invested into a video game would get invested into this story. Although the background, you know, of the Metal Gear legacy is there, you're not going to get the whole full picture. It does pick up a new storyline. You get new characters, you get new plots. It's definitely something that you can enjoy. As far as an overall rating, I'm actually gonna throw you guys a curveball, because I was kind of torn on how I would review this game. Whether I would review it as just a straight up game, just being a regular game like any other game this year, or reviewing it as me being a Metal Gear fanatic. Metal Gear, again, is my favorite franchise all time. So I hold it at a higher standard than any other game. So I mean, just looking at it as a game, you know, playing a game in 2015, this is the best game that I played in 2015. It is a 10 out of 10, you know, as far as a game goes. So with that being said, me being a Metal Gear fan, strictly as a Metal Gear game, this game gets an 8 out of 10.
Okay, 8 out of 10. And what about you, Bill Ken?
I think the story is good, right? I think I like how they use the cassette tapes. They don't for the type of players that can play the game. They kind of cater to everybody. They cater to the Metal Gear fans, in a way that you could use the tapes to really explore the story a little deeper, right? So that's part of the cassette tape. Now, if you're an action player, you got to, just play the game like an action game and just fight bosses or whatever, which is cool as well. So I thought the story was good. I actually enjoyed listening to the tape. Sometimes I'll just sit in the helicopter and I'm killing time, and I'll play some of the cassette tapes and listen to the cassette tapes just sitting in the helicopter, which is crazy. I'll keep it short. I don't want to give it an overall rating. I just want to say that this is a game that I think anyone who owns a console, anyone who owns a decent PC should play. I mean, it's a very good game to play. I mean, if you wanted to play the game for 100 days, you only had time to do one mission a day, you can do that and enjoy the hell out of the game. So I think the story is, it's a good story. And if you're a Metal Gear follower, you'll get some answers. I mean, I guess the way it ends, yes or no. I guess I'll come out a little later, but yeah, I mean, good story. I'm not gonna give it a rating. I'm just gonna say that it's a must play. It is definitely the game of the next 2 years, and it is a must play.
And I'm glad you brought up the tapes, because that was something that I was meaning to bring up earlier, but I totally forgot. The cassette tapes are a great feature. Also, this game also is one of the only games that actually utilizes a companion app and actually makes use of it. Usually, you know how they usually tack on a companion app and it's just there for no reason. With Metal Gear 5, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the companion app, if you download companion app and sync it, make sure it syncs to your system or whatever, all your cassette tapes will sync to the app. So if you want to, sit in your car and you want to listen to the story, you can listen to the tapes through the companion app, all your tapes. So that's definitely something I didn't expect. And like I said, usually when you're dealing with companion apps, they're just kind of tacked on and they're not really necessary. I really feel like that they did a companion app that makes sense. It's like your own personal iDroid, literally.
That's very interesting. I did not know that you can have the companion app to listen to all the cassette tapes.
Yeah, you got to make sure that like if you're playing Metal Gear right now, just connect the app, because it'll tell you to connect to Metal Gear. Just connect the app to Metal Gear, and your stuff will sync to the app, and you'll have all your tapes. All the tapes that you have in game will be on the app.
That is something. Let me just finish up this portion from me, because we're almost going over an hour almost. I will say overall with the story, it was good. Then it got a little weird. I'll leave it at that. As an overall rating, I would say this game gets a 9.8 out of 10. There's some things that could have been better, could have been emphasized more in all bases. But yeah, about a 9.8 out of 10 I'll give it. And we will explain everything what we couldn't really talk upon in the next 2 minutes. So I would like to thank you guys for watching the non-spoiler version of the Metal Gear Solid 5 review. And hopefully you guys, I highly doubt you enjoyed it, because of the fact that I know there's a lot of people out there that just wants to see what we're talking about, wants to see, like, okay, get to the damn point, you know what I'm saying? Like, just hurry up and speak what you really want to speak about. So we're going to get to that as of right now. So before we do any of you guys have any final sayings on the non-spoiler version of this portion of the review?
Go get the damn game.
Yes, please. What are you doing? If you're really waiting on a review, you've waited too long. You should have played this game already. Damn it. Play the game.
Okay, so we will be cutting this portion to a close. Please rate, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Twitch. Thank you to Fullscreen for helping us as a great supporter of the YouTube community. And please visit our website, Newgamingorder.com, where you will see the latest feed and updated news of podcasts and other information. So on that, we're out, and for you live Twitch viewers, stay on, because the fun stuff is coming.